Good evening and blessings out there, everybody. What's going on? It's your man, Rod Hickman, Generational Wealth Builders, where poverty ends with us. Listen, super excited to come to you on this Saturday afternoon here in the last weekend of April 2024. Again, love getting on here, being able to share with you just some information uh, that can help you and your family better save money. So, super duper excited about what we're going to be talking about on today. It is something that I know is going to be extremely beneficial for you, your friends, your family, and your loved ones. So, I would say if I were you, hey, y'all get online, like, share the post that we have because again, I'm about to drop more gems than a drunken pirate. And so again, I love talking about retirement because I just believe that at the end of the day, if the Lord allow us to get older, which we all pray for long life, things of that nature, then it's just imperative that we make sure that our lifestyle does not become diminished, right? And the only way you can do that is by making sure, that you have enough money, that you don't run out of money. All right. So what I want to do today, I really want to talk today. I'm gonna start today talking off about inflation, right? I typically talk about um, inflation. I typically talk about your retirement numbers and things of that nature, but I'm not going to talk about that today in the sense of calculating your retirement numbers. I'm not going to talk about that. What I am going to talk about is what inflation really is, right? And on the road to retirement, on the road to just living your best life, most people don't know that inflation is that nail in the road. And what is inflation? Inflation, simply put, is where your money begins to lose its value. What do you mean by lose its value? Well, we're going to talk about that, where your money does not have the same purchasing power that it used to have. So you basically have to make more money to do the same thing, right? Best example I can give you is with gas, right? For those of us that drive cars, pray for those of us that have vehicles that use 93, right? What happens is when the price of gas goes up, you don't get more gas. Does that make sense? You spend more money, you don't get more gas. Does that make sense? That's basically the definition of inflation. And right now we're seeing inflation in everything, right? You're having to spend more money in every aspect of your life just to maintain the same standard of living that you had once before. And so that's what we're going to look at, because there are calculators out there and everything. And I'm going to show you one because that's what we do here. We like to make sure that we educate our clients on everything. We don't want you to just know about life insurance. We don't just want you to know about stuff like that. We want to make sure that you are properly educated on everything. So let's dive into this, right? So let's talk a little bit about inflation. And I went out and found a inflation calculator just on online that's going to better help me explain more what inflation is. And as I said before, inflation literally shows where you have to use more money to do the same thing, right? Where your money literally loses its value. So as you can see here from my screen, and I've already done this, but I just kind of want you to see it. The way you read this chart is what it's saying is that basically $66,000 in March of 24 equals what $50,000 could get you in 2014. I hope that makes sense. What it's saying is literally 10 years ago, with $50,000, you had the buying power of $66,000. That's what inflation means. You're not making any more money, but it's costing you more money to live. That is the essence of inflation. And that's why I call it the nail in the road. Why do I call it that? How many times have you been out there and you just been driving And next thing you know, the little yellow light come on, the little tire pressure sensor light come on your car. And you're like, God almighty, where I pick up a nail, right? You don't know where you picked it up. Well, folks, that's what inflation is. Inflation is that nail in the road that you don't even know where it's coming from. We know where it's coming from, but I'm not here to be political today. Yeah, I'm not going to be political today. But let's look at some other numbers. So this one is if you're making $50,000. So let's just say, okay, if in 2014, let's say that you were making $75,000, how much would it be today? In order, if you were making $75,000 today, in order to keep pace with your money here, that means that you would need to have almost $99,000, which is in essence almost $24,000 more. Now, I share that with you because while all those numbers look good and people are like, well, I get a raise every year. Let me ask you a question. Those 2 to 3% raises, is that getting you to $98,000? And if it is, watch this. All you're doing is keeping up with the time. You're not saving. All you're doing is paying for the cost of living today. I hope that makes sense, right? Again, I get a 2% raise, and let's just say you got a 2% raise every year. It's still not going to equate to the $24,000 that you need. And that's why you have to make sure, or you have to understand that inflation is that nail in the road. This is why you can't save the way you want to save, right? Again, you don't even realize your financial tire has a hole in it, right? Because you just driving along, you thinking, oh, I see the glass in the road, I move. I see this debris in the road, I move. You don't even realize how inflation is knocking you out the box, right? Every year, inflation goes up, meaning the cost of everything is going up. Now, I shared that with you because I really wanted to get that out there first, right? Once you understand that and what inflation is and how it calls you to need more money down the road. Now, again, I could do it for 2022, whatever the case may be. But again, the end of the day is your money doesn't have the same purchasing power that you think it's going to have. Now, this is where we talk about retirement, because think about it. Right now, you're putting money into your 401k, you're putting money into your Roth, you're putting money wherever you're putting your money, right? That's your choice. But wherever you're putting your money, what you need to understand is it needs to outpace inflation, meaning it needs to grow way more than what inflation does in order to make sure that you're actually going to be able to retire comfortably. Does that make sense? Follow me again. You need to make sure that what you're putting for your retirement income, whatever vehicle you're going to use for retirement, you need to make sure that that vehicle is going to outpace inflation, meaning it's going to grow your money much faster than the typical 3% of inflation that we see every year, right? All right. So let's talk about the retirement calculator. So let's get here. Y'all know we're going to talk about retirement. Don't even trip. So let's get here. So now when we start looking at a retirement calculator, right? This is what's going to help you know, bare bones, how much money you need to have when you get ready to retire, right? This is what this is going to do the calculation for you. It's going to say, okay, at your current age, what year do you plan on retiring? And what year do you plan on living to? And again, some of us may want to live a whole lot longer than that, right? Some of them may be like, I want to stay here till Jesus come back. Wherever you want to live. However, from a planning perspective, we normally take our clients to about 90, 95. All right. That's normally where we help our clients get prepared to live to. Now, with that being said, let's understand this. we're going to look at that current age, the planned retirement age, the life expectancy, and then your current pre-tax income, meaning money that comes in beforehand. And then we have a few other assumptions here that we can make. So we say, okay, what's your annual income increase, right? Again, most people get a 2% increase. Some people haven't been getting any, right? Some folk been getting laid off. But again, I'm not here to talk about that. What I want you to understand from this is how to do this. This is what we do when we sit down with our clients and help them do retirement planning. Now, this is the kicker right here. What is the percentage of your income, your annual income today that you want to have when you retire? Now, easy math. If you say, hey, Rod, I make $100,000 a year right now, okay? Then we're going to say, okay, what percentage of that income do you want to have coming in for you every year? And in this case, they're saying 75%. So that means that we need to plan for $75,000. Does that make sense? So that means that you want to have at least $75,000 coming in every year, right? Bare bone. That's the bare bone needs to come in. All right. And we look at what the average investment rate of return is. Now, let me help you now. Averages are funny. Averages are not like adding and subtracting. So again, I'll do another live on that one soon. But yeah, we ain't gonna talk about that one. But again, averages are different from just thinking, oh, if they say I'm getting an average rate of return of X percent, what that is, that's based on, let's just say, a 10-year period. The pluses and the minuses, that's your average, right? The pluses and the minuses over a period of time. That's how you determine what your average investment return is, right? Like, for example, especially when it's in the market, you'll see, hey, over the last 10 years, we saw an average rate of return of X percent. So let me give you a real number here. So over the last 30 years, the S&P has averaged about 7.22%. Now, what does that mean? That means you've had some good years. And on those good years, the off time, you have some bad years. And so what happens is after the bad year, then it starts to come back up, because that's what the market does. The market is fluid, right? And I educate our clients and let them know, listen, putting your money in the variable market is really like going to the casino. And I tell them all the time, you don't take your bill money to the casino. And a lot of people agree with me on that. Some people don't. Those are people that kind of need a little help. But again, it's all good. But what happens is you don't take your bill money to the casino, and your retirement money is your bill money for your future self. Now, let me say this, and I mean no disrespect when I say this. I hope y'all know my heart, and y'all know I'll never say anything that's offensive for the sake of just saying it, right? But a lot of times people start pulling from their 401k like it's a piggy bank. You got to stop that. You must stop pulling away from that, because what you're doing, you're robbing your future self. So I wanted to say that because it came up to my mind, but we're going to see why. We're going to see what's going to happen. Now, so what we're saying is, and we just say the inflation rate is about an annual 3%. So let's calculate this. So what this is going to tell us is, it's saying that by the time you retire, you need to have about $1.2 million. Now, you need notice what it said, about $1.2 million. However, based on the current plan you own, you only going to have about $365,000. So that means you're going to be shot. And that means that you're not going to actually be able to really retire. Does that make sense? And this is the truth. And it's hard to see this sometimes, because when you're telling people that, hey, we want to help you retire, but you've got to make sure that you're in position to retire, folk don't want to hear that all the time. Because again, like I just said, leave your 401k alone. If you have one, stop pulling from that money. Why? Because every time you touch that money, you're hurting yourself 30 to 40% every time. if you're under the age of 59 and a half. Every time you touch that money, you're shooting yourself in the foot for 30 to 40%. That's just reality of it, right? And I know you're like, but I get it. But what you must understand, you need $1.2 million. That's what your future self needs. You need that $1.2 million. So the question is, how are you going to get there? Right? And that's where we help, right? That's what we help. That's where we come in with our cape in the wind, flapping and everything, because we can help you get where you need to get, or get as close to that $1.2 million as possible, right? Now, let me share my screen one more time, and I'm going to get ready to get on out of y'all way. Now, before I do that, I want to say this, right? You need to know your numbers. If you are putting into a retirement plan and you don't know that you need $1.2 million, $990, $750,000, if you don't know your retirement numbers, folks, literally you're setting yourself up for a very rocky retirement. It is highly probable that you won't be able to retire at the age that you want to retire. All right. And think about that. And I want to say this because a lot of times people are like, well, my Social Security, man, we done gave all that to Ukraine. Come on here. Let's be for real about it. We done gave all our Social Security and everything else. We done gave that to Ukraine. So what they already saying, that's insulting. I'll be 50 next year, the Lord will. And I ain't even looking for that money. I done paid into it ever since I was 15 years old. I started working. I've been paying in the Social Security. And now that money ain't gonna even be there. I'm kind of a little salty about that, right? Maybe I should, okay, I ain't gonna even go there, but I say maybe I should move to Ukraine and be like, yeah, this me over here. I done paid for this since my Social Security. But either way, all right, let's go. Let me share my screen. Let me stop tripping. All right, so here we go. So what we show our clients is the way that the wealthy grow their money. Now, a lot of people think, oh, the wealthy, they're just all invested in the market and they doing this and that and they doing the third. I'm here to let you know that the wealthy do not gamble their money like that. They don't gamble their money the way you think they do. Oh, they got a 401k. The only reason why a CEO has a 401k is by law. He has to, right? He has to have that 401k. But either way, that's a whole different class. Now, let's talk about this. So utilizing a fixed index annuity, what we're able to do is show our clients how you can prepare for retirement, right? Now, the individual that we looked at in our example, let's just say they were 35, right? If they were 35, notice, well, they were 45. I remember now, they were 45. But notice at 45, what happens is in this product, if they put $200 a month into a fixed index annuity, by the time they turn 67, they'd have about $314,000. Does that make sense? So how does Rod help this individual? Well, Rod basically says, hey, my man, let's see. And what is the probability of you being able to add more than $200 to this investment? And one of the options that you can do is you can stop contributing to your 401k and add that money to this additional $200. And then we'll look at those numbers. Now, I'm showing you this number because one morning I was getting coffee and there was an individual that was playing scratch offs. And okay, y'all know me, right? I was like, come on, fam. I'm thinking to myself, how long you go, man? Because he was like, hey, I want to trade this in and pay me out on this one and give me another one of these and all that there, right? So that's what he was doing. And I'm like, Jesus, come on, bro. Good Lord of mercy. Come on, man. Let's get through this. So I asked him, how much does he spend in scratch offs on a year? I mean, on a monthly basis. And he said about $200, which I think he was capping on that, right? Because I done seen him there countless mornings. And so I know he's spending some cheese on them scratchers, right? But either way, so I came and I said, if somebody started putting away $200 a month into a fixed index annuity, where would they be? And this is what the numbers came back to be. $200 a month. Look at here. So again, when our babies, those that are getting ready to graduate, and we want to shout out the kids there at Covington High going to Oscar night. I just got some pictures from me. Kabug is going there tonight. So again, shout out to her and all the graduates of 2024. But listen, baby, don't, again, look at here. Ask some questions. When you go to that job, if that's what you decide to do, and they say, hey, man, put your money into the 401k, because that way you can retire. Ask them, can you show me that I have $6.25 million? If they can't show you that, why in the world would you put your money in there? Right? Why would you do that? So again, if you're 25, we can show you how you can make that 3.3. Now, I'm showing you that to say this, folks, that you want to take control of your retirement. If you don't take control of your retirement, you will be able to blame no one that you cannot retire. And here's something, and I'm not that guy that's doom and gloom or nothing like that. It's just that I've seen a lot, and my job is to help make sure that my clients are prepared, that you're prepared, that you may realize, you know what, man, that old ugly man said something that was good to me. You know what I mean? What he said made sense, blah, 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 blah. That's my job. My job is to make sure that you think about what it is that's being said. And with that being the case, I want you to understand something, that not preparing or not having this conversation is not going to fix your retirement. It won't. It won't fix your retirement. It just won't. Not looking at the problem is not going to fix it. If you were to cut yourself and you just think, oh, I'm not going to look at it, I'm going to act like it ain't there. If you don't treat that cut, it's going to get infected. And what could have been solved with just a little peroxide, some alcohol, and a couple Band-Aids, some Neosporin, now could begin to affect the use of your hand, could lead to gangrene and everything else, all because you didn't want to look at it. And so, as I close, what I want to share with you today is, listen, don't be embarrassed because you're not where you think you need to be financially. Just putting more money into the casino machine is not going to make sure that you get the retirement that you need. It's just not. And so we want to encourage you, book your complimentary consultation. Man, listen, we don't beat you about the head and shoulders. You come in the office, we can set up a Zoom conference, and we can look at some options for you that are tailored specifically and customized specifically for your budget, right? That's what we do. And that's why we're doing as well as we're doing. That's why we are opening more offices. Again, super excited about these additional offices that are getting ready to open. The one there in Huntsville, Alabama. Super excited for that GWB Bama team that's coming online. But again, that's why people are hearing this information. They're like, I never knew that. I can't tell you how many times we've been on a Zoom where we're sharing with people, and their face is just like, man, where have you been? Why didn't I know this beforehand? And so again, what I am doing, I'm using social media to be able to come out here so that those of you that will take the time to just listen, and even more so, set up an appointment so that we can sit down and talk face to face, eyeball to eyeball, Zoom to Zoom. That's what we want to do for you. That is our goal. That's why we are here. Because again, the information is free, and you will be surprised at how little you have to change in order to actually put yourself on the right pathway. And so again, you're on the road to retirement, whether you know it or not. You are. The question is, at what age are you going to be able to retire? Are you going to be able to retire on your own, or are you going to have to be forced retire? Right? What do I mean by force? Your body won't let you do it. Right? Your body won't let you do it. And again, I just saw a video here from CBS News where they were talking about how there are families now that they call sandwich families. And what that means is these are families that the aging parent is now having to move in with their children who have young children. And so now the parents, their time is split between caring for their aging parents and raising their young children, right? And again, it's not nothing new, but what they're talking about is how sometimes our seniors are needing more help. And when you start having the elders who need more help, right? That's pulling on the individual already. Like, how you gonna get them to appointments, things of that nature. So again, long story short, what our goal to do is to help you make sure that you're in a good place to be able to retire and do what it is that you need to do. We don't want money to be an issue. We would rather you be in a position where you can enjoy life and do what you need to do. All right, that's my time for today. Super thankful for those of you all that will like, share, and view this video. Listen, it's your man Rod Hickman with Generational Wealth Builders. Remember this, always remember this. Knowledge is not power until it is applied. You can have an 18-wheeler truck full of gas, ready to go. You're revving that engine, it's ready to go, but it ain't going nowhere until you actually apply the clutch and put it in gear. So that's what I want to let you know. Don't just hear what we're saying here. Make sure you put it in gear. Thank you so much for your attention and your time. God bless you and your family.